There was a time when vampires weren't sparkling in the sunlight or starring in teenage love triangles. They were monsters, elegant, predatory, tragic, and terrifying. Between the 1980s and the 1990s, filmmakers revived the myth of the vampire with blood, beauty, and madness. These weren't creatures to fall in love with. They were creatures to fear. So let's descend into the shadows and count down 10 vampire films that remind us when vampires were truly terrifying. 10. Lifeforce, 1985. Directed by Tobe Hooper, Lifeforce is one of the strangest blends of science fiction and horror ever created. The movie begins in space, where astronauts discover an alien ship filled with bat-like creatures, and a mysterious woman who drains the life energy of anyone she touches. When she escapes to Earth, chaos follows as London becomes overrun by space vampires. The film's atmosphere is pure 80s chaos, erotic, grotesque, and apocalyptic. While critics didn't know what to make of it, Lifeforce stands today as a cult masterpiece of cosmic horror, reminding us that vampirism can transcend blood and become something truly cosmic, the hunger for the soul itself.
I believe they're alive. They look bloody dead to me.
9. Near Dark, 1987. Before Twilight, before True Blood, there was Near Dark, a vampire movie without the word vampire ever being spoken. Directed by Catherine Bigelow, it fuses the Western and horror genres with a gritty realism that feels raw and dangerous. The story follows a young man who falls in with a traveling band of nomadic vampires, led by the menacing Severin, played by Bill Paxton in one of his most chilling performances. The film trades gothic castles for dusty highways, replacing elegance with decay. It's a story about family, addiction, and the loneliness of immortality. Near Dark is less about romance and more about survival, a world where blood is currency and daylight means death.
Do they?
8. Fright Night, 1985. Fright Night captures that perfect 80s blend of horror and camp. A teenager discovers that his new neighbor is a vampire, charming by day, deadly by night. The film balances genuine scares with moments of humor, and its practical effects remain some of the best of the decade. Chris Sarandon's performance as Jerry Dandridge oozes charisma, making him both seductive and terrifying. What makes Fright Night so effective is its self-awareness. It celebrates classic vampire tropes while updating them for a new generation. Beneath the neon lights and synth soundtrack, it's a reminder that horror doesn't have to be humorless. It just has to bite. 7. The Hunger, 1983. Directed by Tony Scott, The Hunger is a vampire film draped in style, sensuality, and existential dread. Catherine Deneuve plays Miriam Blaylock, an immortal vampire who offers eternal youth to her lovers until their bodies begin to decay centuries later. David Bowie co-stars as her doomed companion, whose slow disintegration sets the tragic tone of the film. It's not just a vampire story, it's an art piece drenched in shadow and desire. With its haunting score, decadent visuals, and themes of obsession and decay, The Hunger is the very definition of gothic erotica. It's about beauty that refuses to die, and the horror that follows when it does.
Be careful, Phil. That's a $2,000 monkey you're talking about.
Don't you snap at me, you evil son of a bitch.
6. Vampires, 1998. Leave it to John Carpenter to take the vampire myth and give it a grim, brutal edge. In Vampires, James Woods plays a hard-bitten hunter leading a crew of mercenaries who exterminate vampire nests for the Catholic Church. The tone is rugged and violent, a western soaked in blood. But when Carpenter directs, nothing is simple. There's a constant tension between faith and fury, redemption and revenge. The film strips away romance and replaces it with dust, gore, and blasphemy. These vampires don't brood, they burn. It's Carpenter's answer to the gothic fantasy, gritty, grounded, and utterly unforgiving. Five. The Lost Boys, 1987. The Lost Boys turned vampires into punk icons. Set in the fictional coastal town of Santa Carla, it follows two brothers who move to California, only to discover that the local gang of rebellious bikers are bloodsuckers. With its stylish direction, killer soundtrack, and unforgettable cast, including Kiefer Sutherland as the sadistic vampire leader, The Lost Boys captured the spirit of 80s rebellion and danger. It's slick, sexy, and darkly funny. A perfect snapshot of youth culture colliding with horror. Beneath the humor and style lies a darker truth. The promise of eternal youth always comes at the cost of your soul.
Jesus! Ah! Ah!
4. Cronos, 1992. Before Pan's Labyrinth and The Shape of Water, Guillermo del Toro made his debut with Cronos, a poetic and haunting reimagining of the vampire myth. It tells the story of an elderly antiques dealer who discovers a mechanical device that grants eternal life, but at a terrible price. The craving for blood grows stronger as his humanity fades. Cronos is both beautiful and tragic, filmed with an elegance that elevates horror into art. Del Toro's fascination with mortality, faith, and decay is already on full display here. It's less a tale of monsters and more a reflection on the human desire to outlive death and the pain that comes with it. 3. The Night Flier, in 1997. Based on a short story by Stephen King, The Night Flier follows a cynical tabloid journalist tracking a mysterious pilot who lands at remote airfields, leaving a trail of mutilated corpses behind. The twist? The pilot flies a small black plane and drinks blood. The film is drenched in eerie atmosphere, balancing supernatural terror with journalistic obsession. Its slow burn tension builds toward one of the most disturbing finales of any 90s horror film. The Night Flier is a hidden gem, a story about monsters both literal and human, where curiosity becomes the gateway to doom. 2. Bram Stoker's Dracula, 1992. Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula is a feast for the senses. Every frame feels like a painting brought to life. Saturated colors, elaborate costumes, and practical effects that make the supernatural feel tactile. Gary Oldman's performance as Dracula is nothing short of legendary, tragic, romantic, and monstrous all at once. The film is faithful to the novel yet infused with emotional power, turning the Count into a figure of eternal heartbreak. Unlike most modern vampire films, Dracula here isn't just evil, he's broken. A man damned by love, consumed by time, and lost in endless longing.
My darling husband, please.
Holy blood! We're strong in the Lord! The power of his might! We're strong in the Lord!
1. Interview with the Vampire, 1994. At the top of our list is Neil Jordan's Interview with the Vampire, a sweeping, melancholic epic that redefined the vampire genre. Adapted from Anne Rice's novel, it tells the centuries-long story of Louis and Lestat, Two immortal beings, trapped in a dance of love, guilt, and hunger. Tom Cruise's flamboyant cruelty and Brad Pitt's haunted melancholy create an unforgettable dynamic. The film's lavish set design, gothic atmosphere, and philosophical undertones elevate it beyond horror into tragedy. Interview with the Vampire is about loneliness, morality, and the price of eternity. The perfect reminder that the scariest thing about vampires isn't their thirst for blood, but their endless isolation.
Oh, that's more like it. That's why I chose you.
If you enjoyed this journey into the hidden corners of cinema, don't forget to hit the like button, leave a comment sharing your thoughts, and most importantly, subscribe to CineMeera for more strange, forgotten, and fascinating films. Your support keeps this adventure alive. And trust me, there's so much more to discover together.